tonight was just one of those games where you had to just go play as hard as you could. I even think the fans understood it because they hung in there and pulled for the guys when they were doing well. But it was just one of those games where it's happening throughout the league. You're sitting out players. The Lakers had 8.
Yeah.
Six.
Also, James, I think people understand the situation, at least people that follow the Lakers, because there's been national news around the 6 games in 8 days, the 4 games in 5 days. They can now put that behind them. Obviously, the fires that happened in January moved some games around, and that added a couple of back-to-backs. There's nothing you can do about that. It's
no excuse. It's just the way it is.
It's the way it is. And so people, I think, understand guys being banged up and needing to rest some minutes. And listen, the effort was definitely not the issue tonight. The guys played hard all the way up to the last whistle. You expect that from JJ's players. But the Bucks tonight, I mean, Giannis just, that's a tough cover. He got to the line 12 times. Anytime the Lakers kind of threatened Brez and they got in there, within the 8 points, Giannis would get to the line, or they'd go on a run and hit threes and, separate.
Yeah, first of all, the Bucks, a little healthier. Lillard didn't play tonight. But the Bucks, they need this game.
Yeah.
They're in a dogfight for 4th in the East, right there with Indy and Detroit, James.
Yeah.
Detroit, the Pistons are back. And so they just needed this game more than the Lakers. And they're healthier, is all it comes down to. I would say we should have like streamers coming down from the ceiling here. Maybe some of those little pop guns we have where they shoot out the confetti just for surviving 6 games in 8 days. Like it's the worst schedule as far as like all these games jammed into such a little space since 2011 when they started the lockout shortened season in December with a back-to-back-to-back right out of the chute. I mean, that's a crazy amount of games. All 3 were back-to-back situations.
Yeah.
And the fact they went 3-3, you don't celebrate 3-3 in a 6-game situation anywhere. But for this one, I'm just glad it's over because this has been ridiculous. And like you said, nothing you can do. It's the schedule makeups because of the fire, and that's that. Sorry.
So here's the reality. Here's the reality now. You look at the standings. There are 13 games left, and we talked about it a lot in the pregame show as we show you. It's going to change on a nightly basis. You have to remember a lot of teams still going to face each other. You never know what happens in the NBA. You got the Grizzlies, the Warriors, and the Clippers, and the T-Wolves all within a couple of games of each other right there. That 5, 6, 7, 8. The Lakers now drop back to the 4 spot. They're basically in a tie with the Nuggets in the loss column behind the Rockets by 1 for the 2 spot. The Rockets have won 8 in a row to get themselves into this spot, and the Lakers have lost 5 in that span. So the Lakers had a nice lead on the Rockets. But we've always said that a win streak at this time of the year, you can catapult up 2-3 spots overnight. And that's what's happened for the Rockets. Remember, the Lakers will play them at home later in the month. And if you want to look forward to the Lakers and what they have coming up, you got a Bulls team on Saturday at home. The hope is that you have all your bodies back. Maybe you have those 2 back, Rui and LeBron. The hope is that you have them back. If not, then you got to think they're back for that road trip. Orlando, right? You got Orlando in there.
Indy.
You got Indy in there, who's battling 4-5 as well. Orlando's battling in that play-in spot. Then you got Memphis, and you got the Bulls again. Then you come home, and that's when you go Rockets, Warriors, and now you're into April. So, 13 games left. It's going to go fast, and health is going to be key. I keep telling that to whomever will listen. That's the bottom line because we've seen, James, what this Laker team is capable. They don't even have to be 100%. Well, 80% healthy.
The schedule warmed down a little bit, obviously. And I'd much rather see, the coaching staff and the training staff say, look, we're going to sit out this back-to-back game. It's tough. We're sore. We're worn out. Let's rest up. As you just mentioned, it's over now. So they got to get ready for the upcoming games. And I think a good rest tonight propels them to a good game in the next game. They get some wins. And, guys will be rested. Get LeBron and Rui back, then you start to jumpstart your team from where you were, and then you're going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we said it, Brez. Brez had his predictions board going up in the pregame show that the goal for sure is home court advantage in the first round. And if you can get it in the 2 rounds, even better. But first round, you want to have it. You got to have it.
It's been so long since the Lakers have hosted a first-round playoff series. And this is the year it can happen. As long as, first of all, you got to avoid the play-in tournament. As Trudell talked about with Billy Mack and Stu, in the fourth quarter there. You want nothing to do with this. We've been way too well versed in this single elimination format that I love, James. I think Commissioner Silver had a great idea by starting this thing about 5 years ago. Yeah. It's really added some intrigue to now, this last month of the season, when a lot of teams historically would tank if they knew they weren't in the top 8. That's all fine and dandy. The Lakers, no more. That's it. So now, then you say, okay, let's try to get top 4, and right now they're there. And that could be part of the mindset of why they sat a lot of guys tonight. Again, 6 games, 8 days. That's crazy. You probably played that like every other week.
So like once a month we had that.
Yeah, exactly, right? But nowadays, that's just something you don't see. Because, again, back to Commissioner Silver, he likes players to get rest. He got rid of the 4 games in 5 days almost 10 years ago. He hated it. Yeah. It's one of his first things he did as a commissioner, and here the Lakers had to do it recently because of these makeup games.
Yeah, then you wake up Saturday morning, and you're going to take a look at the standings because tomorrow night, Clippers will be playing the Grizzlies, 2 teams that are behind the Lakers. So I always look at that as a win-win. You're either going to put that 7 seed even further behind you so you can chill a little bit, or you're going to knock Memphis back a couple of games.
I don't think they drop down into the play-in.
I don't either, but, I mean, it's still nice.
It could happen.
Listen, we don't want the play-in. We've had it.
No.
We're done with that. I want to enjoy those couple of nights watching without any panic. Wouldn't that be fun?
I think they've already determined that they're not going to be that team this year. It's just you can just feel something.
They're too good.
You just feel something there. They're not, and it's like they're not going to be denied.
Yeah.
When they're healthy, when they're full, and I think that's what they're trying to do is get everybody back on the court together. And when they get back on the court,
listen, with 13 games, their goal healthy with 13 games left is to try to get to that 2 seed, which they can.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
Yeah, 10-3 would be great, wouldn't it?
And keep in mind, if you avoid the play-in tournament, that's a whole extra week of rest. Because you know the Lakers
is absolutely, you have to have it.
Yeah, you have a few practices.
There's a guy named LeBron.
Chill practices. And
really good when he takes a week off.
He's not bad.
So,
a little time.
I want to give Bronny some love because we're trying to look for some positives. And he looked great tonight. He really did. He had 17 points on 7 of 10 shooting, so 70% from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. The 5 assists, and by the way, probably could have had 8 or 9 assists if a couple of bunnies would have been hit. He was dropping dimes. 30 minutes. You just got to be happy for him. And James, you said this, I think at halftime maybe. Just the comfort level, right? Like you can it's fun to see, and we see it with all young players as they come up through the system. When you get to watch them from start to the beginning of the year where they don't, they look uncomfortable and nervous, to now it's a totally different player.
This is what he's always wanted to do when, we saw him in Cleveland, Miami, shooting hoops before the game with his dad or after the game. He was 10, 12, he and his brother. And he's lived this life and he wants to play.
Yeah.
And he can play. He's
across the board.
He has skills and he's a hard worker. He's got his dad's blood in him and he's been working really hard. So now I think, the big show is over. He's not under the microscope as much. People were just unfairly giving him a hard time for being drafted 55th. Like, not a big deal. But then he was LeBron's son. So automatically he started getting that friction and hate from people. But now I think he's like, okay, you see him in the G League. I can play. Stepping up. I don't care who's playing on the court. He's playing against NBA players. And what I'm seeing is relaxed. He's not thinking anymore. And, it's hard for him. I can see him going to the scoring table and people like, Bronny.
I mean, they're chanting his name everywhere he goes.
It's really tough, but I think he's, let me play.
The fact that he plays under those circumstances tells me a lot about the young man. Honestly, it tells me a lot about him as a player, too. There's a lot of pressure there, right? Everyone chant your name, want you to shoot every time you touch the ball. By the way, his decision-making, I think you have to. It was really impressive.
I'll tell you guys what.
He was the lead guard out there tonight when he was on the floor.
Yeah.
He was the one making the decision.
And I love you bringing up the 5 assists. He showed us kind of a nice array. He's willing to drive, willing to hit a little teardrop, hit some threes, went to the line a little bit. I'll tell you what, before the Luka trade, so let's rewind 2 months. The number one question I got when I run into friends or just people who want to come up and talk Lakers, wherever, number one question I got was about Bronny. What's he like? What's his career arc going to be? What's his talent level? Now you add Luka Doncic. All those questions are over now. Now it's, can they win it all? So things have been upgraded as far as the big picture for the Lakers. But a lot of people were so curious about Bronny. what's he going to be like? And I've always liked talking to the kid. I think he's a good kid. He had good parenting, no ego at all that I can sense. So I'm really happy for him because it's not fair when you're just a few picks from the last pick in the draft, and people are like, "Well, how's this going to turn out? Is this what's this all about?" And he's played great. And JJ Redick kind of tipped us off a couple weeks ago, and when he said, Bronny's really improving, and I think we saw that tonight. Yeah. I really liked watching him play.
Listen, all I know is what LeBron must be feeling on that bench, just watching the game.
How about
inside?
That? Yep.
It's probably a cool moment for him, too. All right, let's go back downtown. JJ Redick is speaking with Mike Trill in the media.
JJ, can you just speak to Bronny in the last several weeks or months and kind of the development that gets to the point where, looks pretty comfortable out there, leads the team in scoring and assists, and just the kind of the growth that he's shown?
Yeah. We've obviously monitored him in the G and feel like he's, in those sort of end game situations, when he's gotten a chance to play with us, he's been really good. So not surprised by tonight. And I think his confidence is growing. You mentioned the word comfort. That's certainly there for him. And I think the next step is just, becoming, like an elite conditioned athlete. Because when he does that with his physical tools and just his like burst and his handle, and we think he's going to be an above average to really good NBA shooter. He's gonna have a chance to really make an impact.
JJ, what do you take out of those 48 minutes minus what Mike just asked you about?
I think it probably reinforced some thoughts. We've been really, really good. It's weird. We've been really good with our greens. I think we started really doing it again in the New York game in the Garden, and for some reason, and maybe it's just not having full strength and playing guys that haven't been with us all year, but for some reason we haven't been able to execute that against Giannis. Their technique has just been god awful. No matter how many times we talk about it, show it, it just hasn't been there. Did it one time tonight. Cam forced a jump ball. Did it one time. Yay. So.
And if you'll entertain another Bronny question, I know how you feel generally about narrative, and like I'm sure there will be a reaction to this in some ways, probably by some of us too. But how impressed have you been with just sort of his ability to kind of keep his head down and be about the work through all sorts of stuff that traditionally would never be thrown at a second round pick?
Yeah, I saw some video interviews that he did at the Combine in May, and obviously I was not the Lakers coach, just an NBA analyst and podcaster at the time. And I texted Bron, and I was like, man, Bronny has his head on straight. Like, he gets it. And since day one, I've just been impressed with the person that he is, and to deal with, because of who his dad is, and just keep a level head about it and be a class act. Says a lot about him, says a lot about that family, and the way LeBron and Savannah have raised him. It was obvious to me from the moment, I started spending time with him on the court this summer. He was certainly going to be an NBA player, and I still believe that he'll be an NBA player.
JJ, once the games were rescheduled, this was obviously going to be the toughest stretch any team has gone through this season, just because you played 3 straight back-to-backs. Then you lose Rui and LeBron right before this stretch. You go 3-3, 2 of the games. You don't have forfeits of your starting lineup. How would you just assess the past 8 days and finally being on the other side of it?
you have to look at it big picture and feel good that you go 3-3 in this stretch. And it was going to be tough no matter what, with the added game, made it harder. I don't think the game that exists today in the NBA and the modern NBA player is like, I wouldn't be either if this was what I came up in and this was the game that I had to play every night. It's different than when I first started. It's just, you're not built to play 6 games in 8 nights. The game doesn't allow you to play 6 games in 8 nights. It's just possible. That's why I don't think have 4 and 5 anymore. If they are, I mean, I lived through the lockout year. I somehow didn't miss a game till the very end because we had secured our seed. It was a road game in Memphis. Stan gave me the option. Do you want to play all 66? And normally I would be like, yeah, I want to play. But then I was like, fuck no, dude. I just played 65 games in 92 days. Like, this is impossible. And it was an easier game to play then, because there wasn't as much movement and there wasn't as much spacing and you didn't have to cover as much of the court. It's what our guys just went through. It's difficult. And the old heads are going to talk about how physical it was in the 80s and 90s, and that's fine. But, the level of physicality in our game and the way that the court has to be covered, and all the movement, it's tough. And just glad to be on the other side of it. And hopefully, going forward, we are healthy and can make a push here.
What an A block. Early first. Lakers shorthanded taking on the Bucks. Jordan's Goodwin to Jackson Hayes for the dunk, James.
Yeah, good execution, good dive, and a good, strong finish. Good pass from Gooden. We talked about him pregame, his importance. Nice stick by Jackson Hayes.
Bucks cruising early. Kuz had a big night.
Kuz. I like Kuz.
Gabe.
Pretty good fashion sense, too.
3 balls good. More from Hayes here, Brez. Lakers kind of climb back, get down within 2. It's Jackson going to the rack, going right by Pupin's dad, Brook Lopez.
I've noticed him be more comfortable lately with the ball as far as attacking the rim, taking more than a dribble. And, blew past Brook.
Bronny's in the game. Miss 3, shake, and bake.
That's a little slash.
Lakers tie it up. Bronny. Little into the lane. Tie it up at 14. And the Bucks would go on a 12-0 run, hitting 4 threes in a row. Even Ryan Rollins is getting involved. Bucks run continues, James. Here's Kuz again as they're on a 20-3 run. Big game.
Kept that pivot foot, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought they got a walk out of that, but they didn't.
Jemison. 34-19. Lakers down. Giannis. He got a foul called every time he touched the ball. Only called for traveling once and a charge once.
Pretty good ratio.
Screen and roll and a hammer, Brez.
Yeah, Jackson just so comfortable when there's open space. In this case, there was a lot of open space. I might have even been comfortable off that, but love his game lately.
Tough pass for Gooden.
Giannis,
nice
I'm just going to go down and dunk
nothing
it.
for that, Geeter.
Yep. Mid-second. A lot of turnovers tonight, big game. 22 of them, a lot of sloppy ones. I think that bothered JJ.
Yeah, turnovers are never good because it's on the floor. He shouldn't be making that many and gave up a lot of points to.
I like this.
Alex Len, 2 for 7 on the season. First as a Laker, James. 3 balls good.
Step back, too, James.
Drop it like it's hot.
Chief Keef with the dish. Jordan Goodwin. 10-point game.
It's pretty low key tonight.
Bronny. This is where you know he's feeling it because this looks smooth. Everyone likes it.
That's just practice after practice after practice, day after day. Get some of those assistant coaches, the player development coaches out there with you at the Laker training facility. Set screens. That's what that is. Rote memory right there. Nice play.
Bronny. See Luke and my dad do that every single night. I'm going to do it too. And Marquise, how about the catch? He's literally my dad.
Literally my dad.
One of my favorite lines of the year by Bronny.
I mean, that's a BB right there. Mahomes out there is going, oh, it's a nice throw.
That's a hell of a pass.
That's a good pass.
You got to get that up and over fingertips.
Don't sleep on a Marquise catch, too.
No.
Trent Jr. hits a three. 57-46 at the half. Like the Lakers' effort that first half. There's Marquise spinning. Getting it to roll in. You know Goodwin's going to hit that corner three. Lakers down 9.
Only a matter of days till he gets the likely upgrade.
Lakers are still in the game at this point. Jackson Hayes, high off the glass. Down 13, Brez, but Len with the follow-up goes right around Torian Prince.
That might be the Lakers' play of the day.
Gets in the little swim technique.
Just.
He's rushing the quarterback there.
Two-handed jam, James.
Yeah, freebie. No box out. He says, I'm going to stick this one.
Giannis. Lakers down by 14. Bronny keeping it close.
James, did you ever talk with
Bronny with a nice change of speed there. Oh, burst.
Yeah, he came off that corner and saw daylight.
He gone. Trent Jr. having a game. That's what he does.
Yeah, he was nice off the bench tonight.
All of a sudden, they're 20.
23 for Gary Trent.
Bronny again, though. Love how he got to that 15-foot mark there. Big game. Didn't settle.
He's such a fundamental player.
Mm-hmm. That's just practice. Again, you got guys set screens for you in practice, after practice. Kuz. That is just a good spin move, James. I'll let you take this since that was one of your fortes.
Well, yeah, you never can just automatically give up the baseline. You got to force him to the help. He did not, but Kuz with a potential three-point play over the top. Len
had a couple dunks.
Oh.
From LeBronny.
Couple of, that's what I'm talking about. A couple assists were left out there, Brez.
Yeah. Bronny could have had a double-double.
I know he could have. Look at this three.
So comfortable.
It's comfy.
Caught Milwaukee in a little late switch. Took advantage. Nicely done.
One more Bronny. How about you switch to the left hand?
A little lefty surprise.
Crossover.
Mm-hmm. Basically went through 3 defenders. All 2.5. Round up. I like this. Giannis, a couple words for Bronny.
Real nice.